John Travolta is not merely a movie star. He is a memory etched into the cultural spine of the world. 2 Academy Award nominations that shimmered like distant constellations. A fortune nearing $250 million. 5 decades of inhabiting other lives while quietly wrestling with his own. Saturday Night Fever didn't just make him famous. It crowned him the high priest of disco, a man whose movements could command an entire generation. Grease immortalized him, freezing youth and rebellion forever in celluloid. Pulp Fiction dragged him back from professional oblivion and proved that legends don't die. They wait. Yet behind the radiant smile and gravity-defying dance steps lies a story forged not in triumph, but in loss. Love taken too soon. A son stolen by fate. A wife claimed by the same cruel disease as his first great love. At 70, as applause grows quieter, John Travolta stands as a testament to survival. The rarest miracle of all. Born into scarcity. Raised by belief. John Joseph Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, in Englewood, New Jersey, the youngest of 6 children in a household where money was a rumor, rather than a reality. His father, Salvatore Travolta, once a semi-professional football player, sold tires for a living, his hands permanently stained with rubber and fatigue. His mother, Helen Cecilia Burke, carried the soul of a performer, having once sung with the Sunshine Sisters on radio before settling into teaching high school drama. Their Irish-American neighborhood echoed with the rhythms of struggle. Shoes were passed down until they barely remembered their first owner. Meals were measured, winters were unforgiving, yet Helen Travolta gave her youngest son something priceless: belief. She told him talent was the great equalizer, that poverty was temporary, but mediocrity eternal. In a home where futures felt locked away, she whispered to John that the stage could set him free. The leap into the void. At 16, John Travolta stood at a crossroads few teenagers ever face. Stay in school, pursue safety, and accept a life that felt like quiet suffocation, or leap. He dropped out of Dwight Morrow High School, and remarkably, his parents did not stop him. Instead, they gave him their blessing like a benediction. His mother's words would become scripture. If this is what you want, you give it everything. No backup plan. With barely enough money to last a week, Travolta crossed into New York City. He slept on floors heavy with mildew and broken promises. He auditioned endlessly, swallowing rejection like poison. He joined the touring production of Grease as a background player. His Broadway debut in Over Here closed almost immediately. But stopping was not an option. Failure would mean betraying the faith his mother placed in him. And that was unbearable. Stardom arrives like a lightning strike. By the mid-1970s, persistence finally cracked the door. Welcome back! Cotter premiered in 1975. And Travolta's portrayal of Vinnie Barbarino made him an overnight sensation. At 21, invisibility vanished. Teenagers screamed his name. Magazines plastered his face across checkout aisles. His single, Let Her In, climbed the Billboard charts. Poverty loosened its grip, but fame arrived with its own demands. On the set of The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, Travolta met Diana Hyland. Elegant, brilliant, and 18 years his senior. She played his mother in the film. Love followed anyway, sudden and complete. They planned a life together, a home, a future. What Travolta didn't know was that Diana was dying. Cancer, already metastasized, was quietly claiming her. While he danced his way toward global superstardom, she faded in the shadows. Love, loss, and the price of becoming a legend. During the filming of Saturday Night Fever, Travolta called Diana every night. her voice growing weaker as his fame exploded. When death became inevitable, he abandoned the set and rushed to her side. They walked in the garden the day before she died, speaking of small things, because the truth was too devastating. On March 27, 1977, Diana Hyland died in his arms. He was 23, holding the woman he loved as her final breath slipped away. Days later, he promoted Saturday Night Fever to a world hungry for joy. The film detonated culturally. The white suit, the Bee Gees, an era crystallized. His first Oscar nomination followed. Then Grease conquered the globe in 1978, cementing him as myth. But grief doesn't disappear. It waits. Travolta smiled, danced, and performed happiness while carrying loss like a fracture no one could see. The fall no one warns you about. By the early 1980s, the crown began to slip. The industry that once worshipped him turned cold. Staying alive earned money, but was savaged. Two of a Kind collapsed. Perfect became a punchline. Travolta turned down roles that later defined careers: American Gigolo, an officer, and a gentleman, Splash. Each choice felt reasonable. Each proved fatal. Hollywood has no mercy for hesitation. By the late 1980s, he wasn't just forgotten, he was ridiculed. Scripts stopped arriving. Phone calls ceased. He became a cautionary tale whispered to young actors. Pain, he later said, lived in the spaces between his heartbeats. Then, unexpectedly, Look Who's Talking arrived in 1989. It saved him financially, but not spiritually. He waited, suspended between past glory and uncertain future, until a single phone call changed everything. Resurrection in a black suit. Quentin Tarantino wanted John Travolta for Pulp Fiction. Travolta hesitated for 6 months. Fear whispered that failure would finish him. Faith answered louder. He said yes. What followed was nothing short of resurrection. Vincent Vega was dangerous, funny, broken, and alive. Travolta's chemistry with Uma Thurman reignited his magic. The dance scene reminded the world who he was. Cannes crowned the film. An Oscar nomination followed. Suddenly, he was back. Get Shorty, face/off, primary colors. For a decade, he commanded $20 million per film. He had done the impossible, returned from the dead. But resurrection demands a toll. In 1991, Travolta married Kelly Preston, with her he found sanctuary. They built a family, a future, and then fate struck again, the unbearable symmetry of grief. Their son Jett, born in 1992, had autism and seizures. On January 2, 2009, while vacationing in the Bahamas, Jett suffered a fatal seizure at 16. Travolta tried CPR. It was too late. The symmetry was cruel. Diana at 41, Jett at 16. Both sudden, both devastating. A year later, Benjamin was born, bringing light back into the home, but grief was not finished. In 2020, Kelly Preston died after a private 2-year battle with breast cancer, the same disease that claimed Diana. Travolta later told of a conversation with young Benjamin, who feared his father would die too. Travolta answered with honesty, "Anyone can die. You just do your best." It was the wisdom of a man who had survived the unimaginable more than once. Endurance over applause. Now 70, John Travolta lives quietly in Florida, raising his children, supporting the Jett Travolta Foundation, flying planes from his private runway. His recent films barely register at the box office. Hollywood's memory has faded, but what defines him is not relevance, it is endurance. He once said, "Applause fades and trophies gather dust, but love endures." From a tire shop in New Jersey to the pinnacle of fame, from holding a dying lover at 23 to burying a son and a wife, From disco king to fallen idol to resurrected legend, John Travolta's life teaches us that survival is not glamorous, but it is heroic. Love is always worth the grief it brings. And even when the music stops, dancers keep moving. Outro, the courage to keep dancing. John Travolta gave the world joy while carrying unbearable sorrow. His story is not about fame. It is about persistence, about loving deeply even when it guarantees pain, about dancing even when the music dies. If his life has ever moved you, honor it, because survival is the only miracle that truly matters. And if John Travolta can endure it, then so can we. Oh,